COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Hello, folks. How are you this very fine Friday? I hope you're gearing up for the weekend. It'll be a big one. Hey, you do know the supermarkets will be open on, pretty sure Boxing Day they'll open again. You don't have to go in and panic buy everything over the weekend just for the day that you may not be able to get into a supermarket on Christmas Day. So give everybody a bit of a break and try and stay out of the car parks at the supermarkets at the moment. It's bloody bedlam there. We haven't spoken about QSI in a while, but there is a lot of exciting things going on in the background with QSI, and the movement, despite what many would say has faded away into the distance, has not done any such thing. So I thought, getting back to Christmas, and there is some big things happening behind the scenes, we should go to the source of all things like that. Hello, Jane. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, Carl. How are you?
Very good indeed. Merry Christmas to you. I hope you're gearing up.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Oh, no, I'll just have a sleep, or I'll probably end up still doing some work, you know. It'll be a quiet one here.
It's just another day for many of us. And for this fella, well, it might be a colder day for him than it is for people down under in Australia. G'day, Nick Regone. How are you? How's New York City treating you this fine Christmas? Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Carl. Merry Christmas to you as well. Nice to see you again. So far, the weather's not been too bad. It's starting to get cold now. But so far, so good. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
So no snow on the streets yet?
Not yet. I hope that remains indefinite for
remains
right now.
Yeah, New York comes to a bit of a standstill when it snows, I'm told.
Yeah, any kind of moisture on the ground creates chaos for some reason. People have a difficulty maneuvering the roads. I don't really know why, but yeah, it definitely does. No question.
We have that here, rain, hail, or shine, mate. It all comes down to the quality of the person behind the wheel, we're finding.
Right, that's right.
So QSI, a lot of people have tried bringing you down over the last, 12 months that I've been around anyway, and I've been attacked relentlessly. You guys have been attacked relentlessly, and yet here we are, still talking and still trying to figure out what's going on. Now, I've heard all sorts of things about liquidity being put into tokens quietly. I've heard all sorts of things about medbeds coming into existence and potential for that to be made open to the public and sooner rather than later. I mean, a lot of it really interesting and highly desirable content that people would be searching out for. So I don't know where to start. Maybe, Jane, can you give me a bit of an idea about the medbed side of things?
The medbeds and the moon, where there is one more medbed ICO to go. Very super exciting. Several modalities on each galactic medbed for healing, but multiple benefits. Yeah, really super duper exciting, the amazing opportunity that those as early investors are getting through the group fund ICOs.
Now, I want to draw a distinction here between what you're talking about and what people are emailing me about regarding Medbed Availability, and you can buy them now and they'll teach you how to put them in your house and have all that sort of thing happen. Or you can, better still, turn up to this retreat where they have one and you can pay thousands of dollars to, lie in a bed for a week. These are very different medbeds that are being advertised, if you like.
Definitely. And the ones that we will have access to will be all free, and there'll be no charge whatsoever. So, medbeds are supposed to be free. Yeah.
Healing. I'm learning more and more about healing all the time. Nick, you'll be unaware of this, but I've gone on a little bit of a healing journey, shall we say. For the first time in my life, I tried celery juice a few days ago.
Oh, that's good.
Well, no, it's not good. It's like drinking liquid grass. But
Well, I meant
I've
the
got
health
past
part of it.
yeah, the health part of it's really good. I've now found that I'm a celery connoisseur. I've been going at this for 4 or 5 days, and now, I can sort of pick the celery that I like by color because it adds to the pepperiness of it. I don't know if it's the color or whatever it is, but I know what I like. So now can't believe that I'm a celery connoisseur, let alone don't even think about what it tastes like anymore. I just down it. It's quite nice. I enjoy it. So, strange things going on in the world. If the universe can get me drinking celery juice, then I'm very happy to believe that there are med beds on the moon.
I'm on a similar kick as you. I'm drinking boron water. I'm taking a multitude of supplements. I'm using ivermectin and fenbendazole as prophylactics, trying to clean out whatever critters that we all are sitting with. So, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. But the medbed certainly a lot faster and easier way to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Celery, taking 17 supplements.
Nick, a lot of people have invested in tokens through the QSI system, amongst other things, and there has been talk in just in the background of people that contact me saying, liquidity is slowly coming into some of these tokens, but they have to do it slowly. Otherwise, there's going to be some sort of a, secret will be let out or whatever. Can you give us some clarity on what, if anything, is happening in the background with the tokens at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, we just did an ICO called Ledger Bridge that kind of explains the whole thing. There's essentially two ledgers. One is a public ledger, meaning what we see when we log in with Lobster or any of the other wallets. That's what they'll call the public-facing one. And then there's an anchor one, which is it's not accessible to us. It's accessible to institutions and developers that has the bulk of the liquidity there. And I verified that as well, because when I did my SGB live stream with Emily, she had verified the account that I found, which was holding $1 trillion in liquidity, was in fact related to Horizon Stellar, which is related to the anchor ledger. So we're seeing just kind of a smattering of public people, very little liquidity, no values really, but behind the scenes they're testing very large amounts of money. I only found one account, but I can imagine that there must be multiple accounts because institutions are able to, and you need special software, by the way, to be able to access that.
Right.
So institutions are probably building out now so that when eventually that part of it is revealed, then they'll already have been in place in terms of being able to operate within the Stellar blockchain. So what this ICO is essentially, it's the bridge between the public face, which is what we see, and the private anchor ledger that we don't see, so that when the time comes, this bridge will bring, it'll basically bring all the assets up front that we are going to be able to see the real values and everything within the both the public ledger as well as the anchor ledger, and that's where the liquidity is. Sure.
Can I ask why there is a need for the anchor ledger and why it's kept, out of the public view, so to speak? Is it just simply because it's so large?
Well, yeah, it's going to be part of the quantum financial system. So we kind of call it now the QSFS. I always have trouble saying that.
Right.
We call it the quantum stellar financial system because it'll be a linchpin for the quantum financial system because people will be using it for so many different reasons. It could be shopping, it could be sending money, it could be investing. So there's no other blockchain right now that's built to be able to do that. So
would we think of it like maybe an internet connection? It would be the backbone to the Stellar connections that we would be making then.
That's right. And the reason it's behind the scenes is because they're still developing ICOs for the infrastructure part of it. and projects as well. And they're also testing. So they want to make sure that all of the bugs out. And they don't want people who have bad intentions to be able to try to capitalize on large amounts of liquidity being in the system. That's why
Sure.
it's being kept low intentionally, because if you can't get out really, then criminals are going to have a hard time trying to figure out how to make a buck off of other people. When the time comes and the full liquidity comes in, by then they'll have all the security and protocols in place to prevent people from trying to game the system.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure people will still try and game the system.
Yeah,
they are.
They still are, but that's a lot of the things that we're seeing are intentional to trap a lot of these people beforehand. So this way you have a minimal amount of them when you go live. But I'm not concerned about it after they go live, because I'm sure that the quantum computers are going to have the ability to protect with regards to any type of fraud. That's the whole reason we're building out the new financial system, is to remove all possibilities of fraud or illicit activity. So I'm sure that they you already have some quantum infrastructure in place in order to provide security. But by the time they roll it out, everything will be in place where that won't even be a concern.
And it's the same with this few security ICOs that we've had in the last couple of days involving biometrics, etc. And they will be used to pick up any cockroaches that come through the system. And we know that they will be picked up extremely fast.
Yeah,
so they won't be able to get away with it, because everything will be seen.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for people who are not maybe as far across QSI tokens and Nasara Jasara, but hear the words a lot, don't really have a full understanding. Are these two things interlinked, or are they two separate things? The Quantum Stellar Financial Reset, if you like, and or Nasara Jasara?
Well, the processes themselves were separate from the standpoint of Nasara was supposed to be enacted back in 2001. But because of 9/11, it basically they destroyed the infrastructure computer-wise, and they also took the gold out of one of the World Trade Centers that was supposed to be used for the system. So Nasara has been around a lot longer than the the QF, to talk about the QFS, but they are interrelated, because when Nasara comes in and we're talking about fairly substantial amounts of money, we can't have it going into the traditional methods of what we call value storage, meaning banks and and all these different types of accounts, because those are the accounts that are able to be used for illicit activity. So we need it to be, when it happens, we need it to come into a place where it will be able to be traced, it'll be transparent, and there'll be security measures in place so that nobody, tries to again break into somebody's account that just got paid from their UBI or from their return of all the interest. I mean, there's going to be large amounts of money we're talking about. So everything has to be in place, and it needs to go into a place where it can't be used again to start the whole thing over with a new cabal type of thing with new illicit activity. So yeah, they are definitely tied. And that's what, unfortunately, I spoke about this yesterday as well. These people, these RV, they call them gurus. They've been saying pretty much every day for the last couple of years, tomorrow's the day, tomorrow's the day, tomorrow's the day. And people unfortunately are getting sick of hearing that, and I can't blame them. But when you think about it logically, if you pay out those kinds of that we're talking about really, really, I'm sure large amounts of money for the revaluation of the ZIM, the dinar, the dong, they're talking huge amounts of money. So if it's coming tomorrow, and what are they going to pay them with? Fiat money that's worthless, that can be hidden in your vault or sent overseas, or what you can do anything with essentially with fiat money. So why would they? That would potentially create a whole new elite class that could go cabal, because they'd have a lot of money and they could do whatever they want with it, because there's no way to track it, no way to see what they're doing in terms of transactions. So that's the missing piece here, that they keep talking about it's coming tomorrow, but it doesn't make sense from the standpoint of security, transparency, all of that stuff. So, and as you noticed, I'm sure, all the banks, all the companies, all of a sudden everybody's woken up to tokenization. Chase is doing it, brokerages are doing, they're all in a rush now. I find it hard to believe that they all woke up one morning and said, let's start tokenizing everything now. So they're part of that whole thing. So you can't, I hate to say it, I don't want to discourage people because we're all financially hurting, obviously. But you want to be realistic about what the timeline is, and it has to be kind of in sync with the bulk of the completion of the Stellar system as well as the QFS. So I don't see that happening right away, but I don't see it like way down the road either. You could be looking at a year maybe, and even in between there, you'll have opportunities to see some income from maybe some small appreciations of tokens or money coming, a little bit of money coming into the system as the NDAs come off of the institutions that are involved with this. They'll be able to start investing. You'll see, you'll start to see commercials and things. So the public perception and awareness will be higher, and that probably will give us a little bit of liquidity to work with as well, personally. So, but I don't see these guys are talking. Listen, if I'm wrong and they're right, I'd love to be wrong because it would certainly help a lot of people for that to be the case. I just don't see it logistically making any sense.
It's all going to come through Stellar, and Stellar's not ready for that. And I think if anyone listening goes and listens to the calls that Emily's done with Ben from Stellar Russia, he's indicated the end of 2024, potentially 2025. So,
wow.
Maybe we'll know more on our next call with Ben, which happens Christmas Eve, our time, so 4 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So Sunday morning. So we'll hear more then. But
you can't be up in Australia at that time of the morning. You might catch Santa.
Oh no, I'll be up. It's Christmas Eve, so it won't be Christmas morning, it'll be Christmas Eve.
Oh, Christmas Eve. There you go.
So the birds don't go out till the night after.
I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed to hear that once again, it's not just in this particular sphere. It seems to happen in just about every other area of what we cover here at Voice of Freedom. But we get to Christmas time, there is much expectation built up over the year that, by Christmas, and then we get to Christmas and then we're told, oh, look, maybe by the end of next Christmas. There is an element here of the carrot being dangled. People are starting to question, why is it always another year? Is that impatience, or is that, a genuine concern that, there is always another story at the end of the year?
I think that, unfortunately, like I said, a lot of people are hurting financially. So, they really need some relief. And these people that are saying these things are giving them hopium and, giving them the potential to say, I'm going to get some relief. I think part of it is also, unfortunately, humans tend to be greedy at times. So I'm sure there are elements in there of people that just want to, get a lot of money. But I think the bulk of it is that, a lot of people are hurting and they would like to see some relief. And, with regards to these gurus, I mean, some of them have been saying this stuff for years and years and years, and they're repeating the same stuff over and over and over. So I say, well, if I'm going to listen to you, what's your track record? Right now, the track record is all of them been 100% wrong. Not one of them has been right in terms of things coming out. So, and yet
Well,
people
that can be said of all the intel bringers as well. You know, they've all been wrong essentially.
right.
I mean, everybody's walked away from timelines. At what point do you start questioning either those that are bringing the intel or those that are telling them the intel? You've got to start questioning
that a long time ago, probably, you know, because
Yeah.
again, you got to look at the logistics of everything. And then, I mean, certainly very, very good things are happening to bring us forward, you know, with regards to BRICS. And, you know, Iraq's going to stop using the dollar in January. There's cross-currency agreements between all these different countries now. And many of them are saying they're going to be using a gold-backed standard. India, Russia is doing it, China. So, I mean, there's a lot of very big positives happening and big things being built for this thing to roll out. So I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, you know. To me, a year is really, you know, for what we're going to be getting and the abundance and the peace and everything else, that's certainly not a long time to wait. But, you know, these people, they also, unfortunately, some of them, not all of them, have an agenda from the standpoint of getting eyeballs. And you know, the more eyeballs they get paid. And they have other businesses and things that they, you know, basically tout on their shows. So, you know, they want people to come and watch. So, you know, but after a while, I mean, you got to say to yourself, watching them, when do you say that they're wrong? I mean, every time they lay out a timeline, it's incorrect. But people tend to watch them. They watch them. They watch them religiously anyway. I understand mentally, especially if you're suffering financially. But, you know, again, I think we'll get some relief anyway in some way, shape, or form throughout this. It might be small UBI income. I mean, you saw like the IRS is giving relief to people's tax returns from 2020-21. So they're basically kind of eliminating them altogether. You know, IRS does not do that. Okay, they're not a charitable organization. Okay, usually they have guns at your house if you don't pay your taxes. So, and you're seeing signs of people's mortgages being, you know, suddenly mysteriously disappearing. In Canada, Chase forgave all credit card debt. You know, these are not things that usually happen. So clearly we're making progress, but it's got to be done correctly, and it's because we only have one chance at this. If we screw it up, then you give the cabal an opportunity to rebuild, and they'll know what's coming. So
that's a picture I've got from Wells Fargo. That's a debt forgiveness. That's a mortgage debt forgiveness letter that somebody received from Wells Fargo. So
you saw that.
It is happening. So
it's kind of like the testing of the stellar. You know, you have small amounts that show up front in terms of testing, but behind the scenes, there's huge amount. So I've heard from different parts of the country and different parts of the world here and there that you're hearing these stories, which is good because they've never done that before. They never have given us relief. So, you know, I know it's going slower than many would, you know, want it to go, but it's a gigantic undertaking. It's not, you're talking about eliminating a power base that's been in place for hundreds, if not thousands of years. They had all the money, they had all the people, they had all the resources, they had everything. So we had to take all of that away from them. And on top of that, build a system that they can't rebuild themselves again. So, you know, people saying, no, it's taking long. It's like, you know, I think it would take 100 years, you know?
Oh,
it's
I'm amazed they can do it.
Everything that they do. Stellar tracks everything that they do. And as Emily has always said, those of us that are studying Stellar and Stellar Intel and what Stellar's doing and the progress of Stellar, like keeping an eye on stellar.org, the SDF, all of those sorts of things, the building out of the steps, so the Stellar ecosystem proposals, the protocols, you name it, keeping an eye on all of that and knowing where Stellar's at, then you are going to know what's happening and understand that, no, we're not quite there yet. We're not ready for an RV. So there's still a few steps to happen on Stellar, and that's why I highly encourage everyone to go and complete the beginner's training, Carl.
Yes. We don't have. I think that was an intentional dig. Am I misreading that, or?
No, not at all.
Nothing about it. No, all good. I understand completely, Jane. You might be right. Thank you. Now I'm really embarrassed.
I mean, we don't even have protocol 20 yet.
China have recently stepped up and said that they are going to encourage the world to look at the price they set for gold. Now, China owns a great deal of gold, and that would be playing into the BRICS, the whole BRICS thing. Well, what are your thoughts on that play, and is that something that is going to affect the financial reset? Could China exert the same kind of pressure in the crypto world?
They won't be when the system is fully built out, because everybody in the world is involved in the system. They all have their own quantum computers that are going to be running their ledgers, their countries and stuff. So look, this is all facade. All these different, news articles you see about Russia being bad and China wants to, take over the financial system and all that. It's all facade for what's going on behind the scenes. Okay. And clearly China and Russia are working together in a very big way to bring all of this about, like Russia is now the manager for the interbank, the SCO Interbank Consortium. They're the manager, even though it's a Chinese organization. I have some information coming out next week with the D class that we're doing that is really, really a big confirmation that all of this is valid and real. And they're working for our benefit. They've done so much. I'm not concerned about China or Russia. They're taking the bulk of the bullets, as well as bearing the bulk of the load of building all of this out. Because we can't do it, because we have all the cabal people here as well. So we need to have someone appear as an enemy, and that gives them the cover to be able to do what they need to do, and nobody is really scrutinizing them or really watching them. So
yeah, and that's where it is also valuable to understand the value of a good PSYOP. So for anyone that would like to understand PSYOPs better, please go and watch Operation Mincemeat from World War II. And then you will really understand the value of a good PSYOP. And
is that available on YouTube, is it?
Operation Mincemeat is currently available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, most of what they've been doing is PSYOPs, essentially, because you want to get rid of as many bad people before you turn things on as you can. So, we see these things happen, and people that don't believe in everything that's happening say, see, look, that website went down, or the value of that token went down, or, Stellar Dex, it crashed, and all of that was essentially done to draw out attackers. So they would attack, and they say, okay, we got your IP address now. We know who you are. We know where you are. And that's how you eliminate the rest. We know the high-level people are gone in terms of, political and power positions. But now you have the lower-level people that are still, on the attack, trying to stop this from coming. Because once it comes, that's the end of the opportunity for them to, even though they're not going to be able to rebuild, to potentially rebuild. So, that's a lot of this right now. There's no reason to provide a huge amount of liquidity in Stellar at this moment in time. That's just common sense. Why would you do it? All you're going to be doing is giving criminal people an opportunity maybe to try to make money off of other people. So
and we've got to remember we're still fighting a war. So that's why the value of a good PSYOP is essential. It's still a war. It's still good versus evil, dark versus light. We know the light wins, but we need to keep that in mind, that, all activities from the white hats cannot be telegraphed, because they don't want to tell the deep state or the cockroaches, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, what they're up to and what their next move is, because how do they catch them if they tell them and telegraph the moves?
And with the RV stuff too, I mean, look, they're not going to, probably 4 or 5 people in the whole world know when this is going to actually happen. Maybe it's even less than that. So they're not going to tell people, on Telegram or, even high-level military people that are in contact with people on Telegram, when this is going to happen, because that's telegraphing what you're going to be doing, and then the cabal can say, okay, that's when they're doing it. Let's see how we can stop it. It's just going to come. It's going to come out of the blue when nobody expects it. So everybody that's saying I have a contact in the Treasury or I have a military contact, it may be that they do, and maybe they think they're getting real information sincere, but it might be that the white hats are using even those high-level people as misinformation, disinformation tools in order to confuse the black hats and to keep them off guard, to let them use up resources so that, for in preparation for things that aren't happening, so that the time comes they won't have the resources really to stop anything. So, I don't say that all of them are bad people. I mean, some of them certainly are trying to make money, and you can see there's some intentions there, but you have to think logically. Trump has always said we will never telegraph our moves. So anybody who thinks they're going to be told actually when this is going to happen, nobody, including us, they're not going to tell us when this is going to happen. It's just going to happen when they know the timeline is at the highest probability of success and least amount of damage.
Former President Trump has had a pretty big week in America. He has had a bit of a win in one court and a bit of a loss in another one. In Colorado, they've decided to take him off the ballot completely. California looks like they're going to try and follow the same route. I was interested to learn that he's not the first president to be removed from the ballot. Doesn't mean that you can't run for president. It just means that your name won't be on the ballot in that state. But President Lincoln was in fact... was also ran without his name on 10 states. I don't think there were 50 at the time when Lincoln was around with it. So he didn't have his name on 10 states and still won with a minority.
Yeah, that's right. But this is part of the program because now it goes to the Supreme Court. And, Clarence Thomas is the key person there for our purposes to set precedent and overturn whatever needs to be overturned. But this is going to be overturned. There's no question that they're going to reverse this decision. But it's more so that it might lead into, more discovery of election fraud and, potentially revealing really, I mean, they have so much information about it, it's not even funny. But they had to do it slowly because if they did it immediately, it would have been a civil war for sure, right after the election, because people would never believe that all of this was going on. But over time, and also, now people have the fear, they understand that what it would be like under an administration run by Joe Biden. Okay, people voted for him, they wanted him. Well, okay, great. Prices have gone through the roof, interest rates have gone through the roof.
Your borders have gone down.
Yeah, we went from net having our own energy independent, to now needing energy from everywhere. The dollar has gotten slammed. I mean, even those that voted for him are probably not too happy with him. And that's the kind of environment you need if you're going to turn something over, that you have the majority of the people on your side when that happens. So I think it had to go for a while. And through this period, they've been collecting criminals, hundreds of thousands of criminals. So that was another reason why it had to be delayed. On the website Ingersoll Lockwood, there's a couple of places where you can secretly click, and one of them has thousands of cases, sealed indictments, what court they're in, when they were filed, the whole shebang is there, showing all of these indictments on a spreadsheet. Okay, there's a lot. There's still a lot of people to get, but these are the really lower level people, and they're going to fight to the end because they have nothing to lose. That's why they're still trying to do what they're doing. But I mean, this game is done pretty much. Especially knowing the White Hats have Project Looking Glass, I'm sure that they've examined every timeline and picked the one that they assuredly will take us to the end result.
So those that believe that we're barking up the wrong tree would ask for proof on what you've just said. Like how do we know and we believe that this is going forward when none of our friends are being arrested? We're told this is so widespread. We don't that the corruption is is deep, and that neighbors, people you've known all your life, will be arrested. A lot of people are wondering when that's going to start happening, because I realize that'll probably be the last step, though, in what we see.
Well,
they're going from the top down, not the bottom up.
Right. So it is from the top down. And you have to also read between the lines. They're not going to go out and say, okay, we arrested Joe Biden. What you see is a bunch of politicians are resigning, and they're going to have family time. We're going to step down, and we're going to go spend more time with our families, or, going to pursue other hobbies. Top people at every corporation, Jack Dorsey, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, all these people, all of a sudden, they're selling a bunch of their stock, selling their properties, walking away. In Hollywood, virtually every celebrity has been selling their house. In music, same thing. And they're moving to Florida, all these different places. Those are all, you have to read behind. You have to. There comes. All of a sudden, like again, 2,000 celebrities decided to sell their house in the same year. No, they're seizing the assets and arresting them. And and you can see also, look, some of these celebrity clones or whatever they're using, they're really bad. They don't even look like the original person. So, I mean,
exactly.
It's not on CNN or MSNBC. That's the problem. That's why people have such an issue. But it's not going to be there until the end, because the big people had to be taken out first. And that, imagine telling the public that Joe Biden is not really Joe Biden, and we arrested all the major politicians and the top heads of corporations. Everything would become a chaotic scenario, which is what they don't want to happen. So the evidence is there if you're willing to spend some time and do some digging. There's mountains and mountains of evidence, and we've done a lot of it on QSI, just proving that the Fed was absorbed by the Treasury, and we did recently that the SGB tokens, the organizations backing those tokens and the website were real banks, huge banks, and you have the documentation of the incorporation of them as well as the dissolution. So it's not something that you're just going to open the paper up and be able to read. You have to be willing to do a little bit of legwork, but the proof is definitely there. Again, just by even the esoteric mention of what I mentioned, celebrities and music people and all that stuff kind of disappearing from the scene. And, even like the WEF, the forum, Klaus Schwab didn't show up. He's the head of the WEF. He didn't show up to the World Economic Forum. And they were having some kind of kumbaya singing thing. They don't do that kind of stuff at the World Economic Forum. So, you have to be a little bit smart and be able to read between the lines. It's very highly unlikely that every celebrity selling their house at the same time, or every musician is, and politicians are resigning. And the heads of CEOs, by the way, I think even in the last year to year and a half, over 2,000 CEOs have resigned from their positions. So these are all the clues that tell you that things are moving forward.
Yeah, and we've even got clues locally as well.
Yeah.
All our heads of state in the last 12, 18 months here in Australia. So, Palachuk went a couple of weeks ago in Queensland, and I seriously swear that was not her. That was a body double. We've had the Northern Territories Chief Minister go out in the last week under, corruption cloud, et cetera, for not declaring shares. They've all gone out. And the classic one that we all know is not him is Albo. The voice isn't whiny and weaselly enough. It's just not him. It's someone else. It's an actor. It is not him. How can people not see it? You can even see the mask on the side of the neck at times. Come on.
Right. That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And look at the financial system. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jane.
Yeah, just how much plainer can they make it? And it's like those couple of articles I sent Nick a week ago on the RBA. They've been hiding stuff in plain sight since 2018.
Yep. And that's what I was going to get to. Look at how many branches of banks are closing. how massive layoffs on the banking side at all the major banks of the world are laying off multitudes of people. They're closing branches like crazy. They don't do that. If the economy is great and everything is okay, what reason could they possibly have for drastically downsizing and also removing a bunch of employees? The reason is because when this happens, you're not going to need the banks for most of your business. They're just going to be there to help you transact whatever you're going to be doing on the digitized side, maybe sending money or whatever. And they're not going to be making money on that. They're just going to be paid enough to cover their staff and their expenses. They're not going to make money on mortgages. They're not going to make money on financial products. They're not going to be, not going to be taking your money and holding it for a few days and making money. Or all that's going to be gone. All the middle people are going to be gone. And if you don't see that, I mean, I'm posting every day. I post an article about something that's happening in the financial sector. That's like you gotta have your head in the sand not to know that something major is going on. Just the fact that countries are willing to say they're not going to use the dollar anymore. If the United States was in charge, like they were, no country would even dare to make a mention of anything like that, because we have the capability of destroying any economy. We'll just sell their currency into oblivion and wipe them out. So when you have countries coming out, even third world countries saying, yeah, we're not going to use the dollar anymore, and we're going to do currency swaps between ourselves, and we're creating a new gold-backed currency. If the old powers were in charge, that would not even be a possibility. You wouldn't hear
you're right.
The military would be going in and they'd be declaring war and giving us some false scenario as to why they've got to invade that country or be in that country.
Yeah.
That's right.
They do it under the guise of human aid.
They could easily do that,
Yeah. Whereas it's not happening anymore. So, there's so many signs. And this is also the reason why in Australia we are seeing cashless branches, particularly with the ANZ. It's because we're going to a digital system.
And because they don't have the cash. They don't have cash. These institutions do not, the Fed has not been printing anymore. We already did a proof on that.
Yeah.
They stopped. In terms of physical cash, most of what they do is basically on books, in terms of electronic entry. So they don't have, if we all went to the bank today and asked for $100, the whole banking system would implode. Well, every bank would basically be wiped out because they're insolvent right now, most of them. They're not letting the public know, but if you look at their balance sheet, you'll see they have negative equity, okay? And many of them don't, they have negative cash. I don't know how you have negative cash, but somehow they have negative cash. I posted something yesterday about $700 billion in losses in the banks that people don't know about. And that's only the on-ledger stuff because they have all these off-ledger accounts that they put all their bad stuff into. So it's probably millions of dollars. Okay? So right now the system is really defunct. It's a question of how they're going to reveal that to the public.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to reveal it to the public willingly, are they? It'll crash and it'll be revealed. They won't be able to hide it any longer.
Yeah, they're going to have to do that. And then they'll say, thankfully, we have this backup system known as the quantum financial system that we built just in case something like this would happen. So we're going to switch over to that. And that's how you have to make it the old system irreparable. So that this
people are very nervous about going to a digital economy. Here in Australia, we've recently had a banking inquiry, and there is encouraging noises coming out of Canberra that cash will not be removed out of our systems because the people simply refuse to have them removed. We know that the banks are engineering the argument that people aren't going into the banks for cash anymore or not using the teller services, and that's why they're closing down branches. But we also are not stupid, and we can see that they have a gatekeeper standing at the door to these branches saying, oh, what are you here for? What do you need to do? Oh, you can do that here through this ATM machine, and I'll help you with it so you don't have to worry about, seeing a teller.
Since when does the bank need to know what you're doing with your own personal money? Why do you have to give them an explanation as to why you're taking out money? That never happened before. Okay, because they don't want cash to go out because they don't really, they don't have the cash. So
I had
it's
to
just a
transfer
digital
some
economy.
money the other day, and through the ANZ, I had to transfer some money the other day. They stopped that transfer. They quarantined it, they called it, but didn't bother calling me and telling me about it. So 3 or 4 days later, I'm wondering, where's that money gone? So I ring the bank to say, where is it? And they said, well, you can't have it for another 3 days. So they'd quarantined it because they didn't think I, should have been transferring that sort of money. Wanted to know everything, ins and outs of a duck's arsehole about what I was going to do with this money. And the fact it was going straight into the company. So it was just ridiculous what they wanted to know about. So
they have the right.
I gave them a mouthful and still had to wait 7 days to get a transfer payment out from one Australian bank to another Australian bank.
Right.
Yeah, well, this goes back to that article, Nick, that I sent you the other day from the Australian Financial Review. The RBA was keeping our banks afloat with $4 billion a day daily lifeline, and this was dated the 3rd of September 2018.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they have that bank program here where the Federal Reserve is lending them money for a year off of the securities that they hold on their balance sheets. But the problem is that they're lending them the money at face value of these bonds, because if they lent them based on the value they are currently, there'd be no value. So
there'd be no value.
They're essentially giving them, it's a shill game. They're giving them the money temporarily for a year, so that based on face value, but doesn't exist that value. So they're using all kinds of tricks and things to try to keep things afloat, but they're not going to be able to do it because there's way too much damage in the financial system to be able to do that. And as far as digital, people being afraid of digital, most of our transactions are not cash. They're credit cards or phone app transfers, or we're already mostly call it maybe not digital tokens, but we're essentially electronic. Using electronics in order to be able to do our transactions. So I don't know why there would be any real concern about it.
I think it comes down to pocket money and being able to have that little bit of cash tucked away, hidden under the sofa, couch, or cushion. I think people are very concerned about having their every cent tracked and regulated potentially, so that the tap can be turned off. The government can decide that you can't access your own money, or that you're not allowed to spend it on what you want it to be spent on. So that's where the freedom of cash is so strong.
Well, there will be cash. We're going to have notes that are tied to the commodities that are backing them with serial numbers. So people will have those for a number of years because, like you said, people are used to having that, and it would be a big psychological blow to them to take that away. So that'll be around for a few years as they get rid of all the old all of the old money and destroy it. But as far as tracking, the banks track us, the government tracks. They're already doing that. So look what they did with you. They stopped the transaction that you put in without even your authorization. They just did it. Okay, that can't happen.
I had to fight them to get it to unstop.
Right, but that won't be able to happen in the future because the banks won't have they're not holding the assets. They're not involved in the process at all. They're taken out of the picture. They can't do anything whatsoever other than observe and do something with your permission, being in a branch or something that you want to get something done digitally. That you got to take all of these people out of the middle that are number one, profiting off of us, and number two, controlling what we're able to do and what we're able to not do. So that's the whole.
Take away the incentive of the person who's there supposedly to give you service by helping you get a loan or whatever, but their incentive is to sell you this insurance package or this mortgage insurance package or that other kind of insurance, and they're getting a commission off that every bite of the way, all the way through. Now they're incentivized to sell shit. We've just had a big one here in Australia with JB Hi-Fi, where their extended warranty program is under a great deal of pressure and scrutiny, because it's valueless.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's the ancillary stuff. But look, when, like they said, your money won't be available for 7 days. Where is that money? In money limbo? No, they're using that money as much as they can to make as much as they can off of it before they eventually transfer it over. So that's where the big money is. Every transaction goes through the system before it gets to the other side. We're bypassing all of that altogether by using the blockchain. Those people will not, those organizations will not be involved. That's why everything is downsizing and stuff, because their function is going to totally change. Same thing in the financial services industry. I've said for the last 2 years, there may not be a financial services industry because it's basically based off of commission and profit from the off of the people. And, you know, in terms of the fiduciary responsibility of the firms, they don't have any. All they have to do is sell you something that's suitable. It could be crap, but as long as it's suitable, you're okay. And they make money off of you. So we'll have AI that'll probably be able to advise people better than the firms for nothing or for a very, very minimal cost. And you take that out of, you know, the picture altogether. And just imagine all the money that's taken out from the middleman in all our transactions, everything that we do, from buying an item that you know that's been shipped from China or manufactured. Between their cost is a penny. By the time it gets to us, it's $1, and it's all the in between people that are taking the money. So imagine how prices will be so much better, and that's kind of with the revision to 1955 prices. That's what they're referring to, and also on the financial side, imagine every ATM that the $2 they've taken out, or every time you move some money, there's a $25 wire charge, or use your credit card, there's a 1.5% surcharge. That's a huge amount of money over the course of years that they've taken from us. So, and that's why a lot of it's going to be returned as well as part of NESARA, because it was illegal to begin with. But that in and of itself is going to give people so much more to work with and to be able to live a better standard of living. Yep.
It will raise the standard of living considerably for many, I hope. So that'll be great. Guys, I can't thank you enough for coming on Friday night before Christmas. Jane, how can people learn more about QSI, and where do people go and do the basic beginners course?
Well, with the basic beginners course, you can go to the App Store if you've got an iPhone and download the Quantum Stellar Initiative app, which includes the training program, or you can go to Google Play for the Android people and download it there. So the Quantum Stellar Initiative app. Or you can find the training course under QSI Welcome on Telegram, or Quantum Stellar Initiative on Telegram. Make sure you've got the channel that's got about 46,000 members on it for the main Quantum Stellar Initiative channel. And Carl will share all the Australia, New Zealand links again on his Telegram channel.
I will.
And there's so much informational videos that we've done and proofs of all the questions that you had. We've done so many proofs and so many videos that people can watch on YouTube on the QSI YouTube or Rumble channel. So there's a wealth of information there. And if you want to understand how things are unraveling, you need to understand the mechanics. And that's what we're trying to teach people, from this point, so that when the time comes, they'll already be prepared and understand what's happening versus having to start to learn at that point in time. It's harder to do that when you're under the gun. So, we all spend a lot of our own personal time trying to educate and help people to be prepared for what is coming.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's why we do these sorts of sessions. Come out, help answer your questions, but don't forget to go and do the beginners training, Carl.
No, I will do it. I'm very sorry. Bradford's is onto me about it too.
I know, because he's done it.
Yes, yeah. He's he's right into QSI. He is. He's learning left and right. Rings me not every day, but every time we talk, he talks about it. He's very enthusiastic. So I just feel a bit guilty that I've let you guys down so far. I apologize.
Well, Bradford
Jane will definitely follow up and check up on you, so I would do it if I were you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, Bradford. Speaking of Bradford, he was on the last QSI Queensland weekly call for 2023. So, and then we went through trading sovereign gold bonds because he really wanted to have sovereign gold bonds in his wallet. He was not missing sovereign gold bonds.
Yeah,
So there's
good on you.
sovereign gold bonds, Carl. You know, you ring me up. Why haven't I got this in my wallet? Well, Carl, you know,
Yes.
because you haven't put the effort in to go and buy it.
It's been wonderful talking to you, Jane. We might be able to do it again, depending on how this finishes up. But
We will
been a
do
lot
it
of
again.
fun.
Not a problem, Carl.
It's been a lot of fun. I wish you both a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I look forward to talking to you in the new year.
Thank you. You as well, Carl. Always a pleasure to be here.
Happy New Year.
So there you go. Caught up with Nick and Jane earlier this morning because of the time zone issues. So right about now, I hope Nick is getting a little bit of sleep. But certainly an interesting chat about Nasara Jasara and the tokenization of finance. And who knows what's coming up. I mean, if you're listening to some quarters over the weekend, especially tomorrow, you might be expecting Joe Biden to be arrested. I mean, trust me, there'll be a show if that happens, but I don't know. Well, you know me and dates. Not really good with that. A whole heap of interesting, weird things are meant to happen between now and January the 1st. But how many times have we heard that before? So once again, don't go getting excited. Don't go getting anxious. Don't go getting worried. Just go and do what you should be doing for Christmas. And that's being with your family, being with your friends. Surround yourself with loved ones and hand out the love. And by that, I don't mean hand out the presents. It's much better to give than to receive. We all know that. But just be around friends and family at this time. And don't be judgmental. If they're all full of the jab, well, you know, it's their decision. They made that decision for whatever reason. It's not up to you to be judge or jury over their decision-making process. I think we've all grown enough to understand now that this is an individual journey and it's about consequences for decisions. So maybe there is something in that for a lot of people around you and your family. I know there certainly is around mine. Which we'll get into maybe in the next year or so. We'll see how that goes. I think you got a bit of a celery update with that thing this morning, but I can tell you that I'm now getting requests of people and not from the personal trainer, funnily enough. I'm getting requests of people to prove that I am drinking celery juice in the mornings. I was wondering when this was going to happen. So, yes, I will sort that out for you. I may even do it tomorrow morning as I'm creating the said juice. I'll might do a live then. I don't look very good that early in the morning, but, you know, you get to see me at my best. But, yes, I will prove to you that I am in fact drinking celery juice and that I don't mind the taste of it. The first one, well, I'll be honest, the first two, okay, three were difficult. First one was the hardest by far. I mean, it really tasted like you'd, fallen face first into wet grass clippings and, inhaled them. However, the second one, not so bad. I was sort of expecting it. The third one, yeah, I'm probably overhyping the dislike for it that much. I sort of got to the point where yesterday I had this drink, didn't even think about it. I got half a litre of it, drank it in a mouthful. One go. And that's not because it was awful, but I found myself analysing the different tastes that I could taste in the celery. Celery has a peppery taste to it, which I've never really experienced before. That might have been the peanut butter that was on the celery that was, being used as a spoon, masking that. But yeah, I'm really surprised that it's got that sort of peppery zing to it, which I don't mind. A lot of people don't like that. I don't mind that. A lot of people don't like aniseed. I don't mind aniseed, and it has a bit of an aniseed sort of taste to it when you grind it up to nothing. Or in my case now with the juicer, I have the man's juicer. Insert Tim the Toolman Taylor. Whoa, here. You'll see that when I do the live. My juice, is that the way to make juice in the morning? None of this grind. I mean, that might be great and whatnot. And I was informed by the personal trainer that I, didn't get the right juicer. But I counter with the fact that I'm drinking the juice it makes, and I'm eager to drink. I'm buying fruit just so I can put it in the juicer and see what it tastes like when it comes out the other side. So that's got to be good for me in some way, shape, or form. And I can tell you, it does have ramifications. I haven't been far from the house in a while. Just saying. It can be quite dangerous. All right, folks. So Christmas is coming up on Monday. Will there be a show Monday night? Look, probably not, if I'm honest. But having said that, I might get home after spending Christmas with my family, and because I'll probably wind up having to drive, so I won't be able to drink anything. I might come home and I might crack a scotch and come and have a Christmas night drink with you. Christmas Eve, I've been working on it was a night before Christmas little thing. I'm sorry, I can't, unless I have a really big rewrite tomorrow, I don't think I can bring it forward because it's more in line with Kevin Bloody Wilson than probably Voice of Freedom. So I'm going to have a rewrite of my "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," but we'll see what happens there. But I might pop on Christmas Eve just to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. If you are traveling over the weekend, if you're traveling to get to your family, or maybe you've got friends and family coming to you and you're just heading down the street to the supermarket to pick up a few last minute things, please be safe on the road. Please take that extra time at the giveaway sign to really look that there isn't a kid on a push bike or a girl on a motorbike or someone in a car that you haven't seen, that you could not only screw up that person's Christmas and their families, but yours as well for the rest of their lives. So it's a long way for people to travel. Some people will have left today to head, many hundreds or even 1,000 or over 1,000 kilometres. I know people who are travelling from Victoria to Queensland. Take it easy. Take frequent breaks. I can tell you as a pretty seasoned long distance driver that those breaks really do work. There is a reason that the truckies can only drive the distance they can before having a break. And there is a reason that there are signs up on the road saying, you, normal punter driver, take a break every 2 hours. All right. Those people who drive long hours on the roads every day can go a bit longer. They're used to that sort of thing. But folks who are just coming out of the city and going to see family in the country or friends in the country over the Christmas, New Year period aren't used to country roads. All of a sudden, a cow hops out on the side of the road and the driver turns the car on its lid 3 times and they wind up in a 22-foot deep table drain facing the wrong way with blood coming out of parts of them that there shouldn't be. Do not have your family suffer through that at Christmas. And please try not to have anybody else's suffer through it because you were too busy. You were distracted with a mobile phone. You were distracted with a kid in the back seat. Just back off. Just take it a little easy. Make sure that we're all around to enjoy Christmas and New Year as we head into what I expect is going to be a fairly challenging 2024. I want you to, be really safe. That's my key message. for the Christmas period. Thank you to everybody who sent Christmas wishes, and to both Laura and myself. And for those of you who've received my couple of patches of X39 to try, my prayers are with you that they are doing their job. And obviously, if they are, then well, that's going to change your Christmas, I hope, particularly if you manage to order some and get them before Christmas. So speaking of which, I've just received or just seen tonight, Kate has sent me another video. She has just returned from her second 2-kilometer walk of the week. She did one yesterday as well. So these patches certainly do give you a boost in energy. And this is a lady, remember, who had spent 80% of her time in bed prior to putting the patch on, and a great deal of time when she was out of bed in a wheelchair. She hasn't been in the wheelchair since she put the patches on. She cannot believe it. And I'm sure there'll be further updates. Probably, I would suspect she'll give us a big one in a month or at the end of the month, just to say, well, here's what's happened. Here's how motivated I've got. Once again, caution you, though, if you are getting the patch, they will give you a boost of energy. They certainly have for me. They've given me much more focus. The weird thing is, just going back to the celery juice thing for a moment, I put down my desire. Like, I woke up this morning looking forward. Maybe it was the juicer I was looking forward to, but looking forward to that juice. I woke up looking forward to it. Now, if you'd have said that to me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd have roared laughing at you, and said, oh yeah, well, we'll watch that. That'll be fun. But I've been wearing these patches now pretty much daily for the last week or so. And I swear, they change my attitude to that sort of thing. Nothing else has changed in my life to change my attitude like that. So I'm finding differences. My pain, I haven't thought about my knees in, well, don't remember the last time I thought about my knees. Other pains, other aches, aside from this rib thing, which, it can't put things back that have gone out of joint. But it did help with the inflammation and all of that. And I have no pain back here on the, little bit of pain still on my sternum. None in my back. I can lie down on my left side again, which is great. But the patch goes on every morning, and I leave it on until I go to bed, which in some cases is well over 12 hours after it's been on. So I figure it's helping me in many ways, motivating, getting out, going walking. Here's another stupid thing. I found myself today thinking about lunch, which, you do at around 12 or 12:30. And I thought, oh, look, I could go down the shop, I'd get some bread, make myself up a sandwich, and it wouldn't be too bad. Or I could have a juice. So I went out of juice. Pears, apples, nice. God help me if I ever get a smoothie book. Being all sorts of shit. I've got a pile of bananas. I've got a hand of bananas that's sitting right beside the juicer. I just can't bear to think of what that's going to look like if I put it through the juicer. It'd probably be easier to eat the pulp bin that everything goes out into. So, yeah. Oh, wow. I've just seen that 110 or something. Yeah. Look, I think the national road count is up generally. I think Queensland is certainly well above what we were this time last year. New South Wales is, I heard that while I was on the road, and I think Victoria is certainly over it as well. We've had some big multiple death accidents in multiple states this year. And, thoughts and prayers go out to the friends and family of those that were lost in Singleton, of course, in that bus disaster. A lot of well, a lot of ramifications from that still ongoing, obviously, with a lot of children involved. Sunflower, God love you. Thank you so much for your sticker. I hope you and your family have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas day, and your new year isn't too taxing. I know when the part of the world where you are, if you are apt to a 5 o'clock wine, then this is the time of year where they tend to ramp that up a bit, and 5 o'clock can become 10 o'clock in the morning. So just be very careful who you're hanging with over the Christmas New Year period in your part of the world. Here's Karl Stefanovic's roaming around up there in his bucket hat, which is nice because it sort of fits his bucket head. It's why you don't see me in a bucket hat. I got a bucket head too. Well, pull it down a bit, it'd probably disguise me, hey? All right, folks, I'm going to love you and leave you and let you go tonight. You do not have to go to the supermarket and buy it out either today, tomorrow, or Sunday, okay? It will be open again on Tuesday. It will be open again on Tuesday. It's only Christmas Day that it will be closed, and I'm sure you can survive a day. Only a day. No need to go and panic buy the toilet paper. No need to panic buy the spaghetti bowl sauce. Just sit back, relax, bring your friends close, bring your family closer, tell them that you love them, and please, for God's sake, please tell them to watch out for the dickheads on the roads. Merry Christmas.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!